In this video, we're going to discuss the automations for LeadSnap. To get started, expand the CRM menu item from the left navigation and choose Automations. This first screen will show you your existing automations. Yours might be blank when you first get started. To create a new automation, you can either click the tab or the green button off to the side. At any time, you can shut off or turn on an automation with this switch right here. Additionally, you can see automations that are in progress, automations that have run, so that's your history option. If you'd like to edit an automation, duplicate one, or delete one. This will give you a preview of the sequence steps here. So you can see in this case, we're going to wait and then send a text message, and down here we're going to text and then send an email. This will show you what the trigger is. The trigger is not required. We'll talk a little bit more about what the triggers and actions are in just a second. Also notice the conditions here. So this will give you a little bit more information. So you can see that this one, the trigger is a form submission, and it's going to have a filter on it where it's only going to do this if a company is equal to bear removal. All right, so when we go over here, we can click to start a new automation, and then we can choose between these different templates. Okay, to get started, I'm going to start out with a blank automation. So as I mentioned, there's triggers and there's actions and there's filters. Okay, so a trigger is what's going to start an automation, and this is not required. You can add a contact or a person to an automation without a trigger. But in this case, we'll say this automation will begin when a new form submission is submitted. So it's important that you pay attention to these filters here. So if I go in here and I choose a filter, I can say, I want this sequence to start when a new form submission is submitted, but only if the company is equal to this bear removal. And notice that some of these companies aren't activated, so I don't have the ability to add them to an automation. So it's important that you activate your companies before you try to use them in an automation. Okay, so now what's going to happen is if a new form submission comes in and the company is equal to bear removal, it's going to look for our next step. So in this case, we don't have any yet. But what we're going to do is we are going to, maybe we'll send a text message. Okay, so new form submission comes in. If the company is equal to bear removal, we're going to come down here and send a text message. So perhaps we want to send a text message to the person that submitted the form. So in that case, we would use the lead's phone number. And this over here on the side will give you some variables that you can use. So I could say, hi, and this is going to pull in the name off of that form submission, right? So this is the predefined field. This stuff will pull company variables. So this would be like the company name or client name. So I could say, hi. So let's pretend that maybe Jim submitted a request on our bear removal site. So this would say, hi, Jim. This is, and then I'm going to pull in the client name. So this is Bob's bear removal. Okay, so in this situation, we would say, hi, Jim. This is Bob with, and I'll pull in the company name now. So I can say, hi, Jim, this is Bob with Bob's bear removal. I saw that you just submitted a form on my website. Can you tell me a little bit about what you are looking to have done? Okay. So now what is basically going to happen is this form is submitted. It's going to check it's Bob's bear removal. It's going to come down here. I can choose whatever phone number I want from our phone system, and it's going to send it to this one. But maybe I don't want this to happen. Maybe this Jim guy, he's, for whatever reason, it's 4 o'clock in the morning and he's up late. Maybe we don't want to send a text message at that time. So I only want to do it Monday through Fridays, maybe between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. It's going to use the time zone that's associated with this company. So companies are an important relationship for this system to work correctly. Okay, so it's going to use this time zone and it's going to send this out and it's going to open up this conversation. So this is not, most likely this won't look natural because this is going to happen. It's instantly going to send this text message, and Jim in this case is going to maybe be suspicious that this was automated. Okay, so in that situation, we might want to add a wait time. So I could come in here and I can say, I'm going to wait until some time passes. Maybe I want to wait until 7 minutes passes so that this looks like it is, that's organic and it's happening in real time. Okay, so that's kind of how a basic automation can work. And we can add in additional steps, right? So maybe let's change this a little bit. All right, so in this scenario, it's going to be a form submission. Company's equal to Bob's Berry Removal. I am going to remove the wait time on this one. This time I want to send it to the client. Okay, so I'm going to send it to Bob Jones, who is the client for this company. Okay, so now maybe I'm running a digital marketing agency and I want to deliver this lead to my client. So I could say, hey, Bob, a new form just came in from your website. Here is the info. So now I can go over here and I can drag in this information from this form, right? It's gonna put it wherever my cursor is. So I've got a name field, a phone field, an email field, any of these other fields. If you've created custom fields, you can add these through here, right? I don't have that one for this one. Okay, maybe we also want to include a link for Bob to click on that goes to the actual data inside of our system. Maybe if we've given Bob access to the CRM, then we can give him a link directly to this lead. And we can do that by clicking on this link options and then selecting lead details and including a link. And this was set up for reputation management previously, so we will just say lead details here. Okay, so in this situation, the form submission comes in and it checks for this company, and then it's going to send Bob, our client, this information with the link to the lead. And again, we're using that same time frame. Okay, so that's great. There's a lot of different triggers that you can use. You can combine multiple triggers. So I could have different filters for different triggers, right? So this is the condition for the new form, and these are the conditions for the new call. So I could come over here and maybe I want my call status. If my call status is equal to missed, I could have a text message that goes out. And this time, again, we'll go back to using the lead's phone number. And I could say, something like this. Hey, this is Bob. Sorry, I missed your call. Tell me about your project. So that can be sent out instantly. We probably don't want to include this link in that situation, right? Another option we have is, let's go through here, and maybe we want to have a field status updated, could be a trigger. So we can make, you guys maybe have seen in the other videos that we can make whatever fields we want. So that's great because that gives us a lot of power within the automation. So if something is updated, then we could, maybe we have like a job status of, if the job status is equal to complete, then this could start a reputation management trigger. So reputation management, let's talk a little bit about that. So we have a template for that. We started with a blank one, but this end if review submitted is going to continue to send out whatever is in the sequence until a review request is completed. For a little bit more information about this, check out the reputation management area, and we'll go over how to set up this automation. So in this situation, actually, let's do this. We're going to step out. I'm going to choose this review request template. Okay, so you can kind of see that we're starting with this end if review, and it's going to send a text message. And notice in this situation, there's a link to the review funnel. So it's going to continue on with this sequence until this becomes true or the sequence ends. So you can see I'm going to send out this text message, then I'm going to wait 3 days, and then I'm going to send out an email. A couple important things that are big parts of the automation system is the email. You have the ability to add in your own email account. So that way, when you send out something like this, a review request, you probably don't want it to come from our system. In our previous example, you would want this to come maybe from Bob's Berry Removal. So you could add in bob@bobsberryremoval.com and send out this review request from that email address. So that's going to increase your conversion rate for that review request if it comes from an address that the customer recognizes. So to do that, if you were to go up here in the top and click on video training, we can go over here to start here, and you'll see there's a video that's going to show you how to add an email account. And that will walk you through those steps. It's pretty simple, and it's going to give you a lot of flexibility. Whether you have a CRM subscription or you have a subscription to our phone plan, your account gets one phone number. Well, if you have a subscription to the phone plans, then you're going to get a lot of phone numbers, right? But if you have a subscription to the CRM, then you automatically get one free phone number. So you can use that in your automations. We wanted to make sure that you could take advantage of our automations without having a phone plan. So that will allow you to do that. Okay, so let's go back into our automations and let's take a look at this button right here, add to automation. So if I click this, it's going to allow me to choose any of my automations. So these right here line up with all these different automations that I have in this place here. Okay, so if I choose this test campaign, then based on these steps, it looks like it's a text message, and an update email field. So these fields are required. The reason that these are required is because they are being used within the sequence. So for instance, these are variables that are being used, and this is going to be required for us to have these variables in order for us to complete the sequence. So if I choose a company, so I choose this bear removal, and maybe we choose this Mary Tonka, and we can get a lot of Marys in here. We'll go with Kenneth Martinez. Okay, so we have this Kenneth Martinez person here, and you can see that we've got all the information that's required for this. So I could send this request, and it's going to put them into the sequence here. Okay, so that's one way that we can submit or put someone in without a trigger. Okay, another way that we could do it is through our reputation management. If we go into review request, we could add in someone to an automation. Again, we're going to need, so we'll do this demo one, and we're going to need a contact. For this one, the contact that is required is the phone and email, because there's a few different reasons that something will be required. One is we're going to need a phone number if it's an SMS, and we're going to need an email if it's this one. And if any other variables are used when we were dragging those things over, such as name. So if name was dragged over on the SMS step, then that would be required down here as well. So we need to make sure that we have a contact that has the available information to complete this request. Additionally, we can click this button here and we can fill this information out. Once you go to try to send it, if any of this stuff is missing, it's going to reject your attempt. So you got to make sure that so in this situation we previously saw, we know that we need these two to be completed, right? Okay, cool. So that's a pretty good overview of how the automations work. If you guys have any questions, let us know. I hope you enjoy these. These are really valuable for us and our agency, and they've really made a big difference. All right, thanks a lot. Take care.